determining the engineer, you got a series of points you apply to them that add up. The highest pointed engineer is the one that you would recommend.
Kind of like what we did with the applicants for the recent job.
Sure. Okay.
We established a point system to determine who we interviewed, and that's who we interviewed. Then we established a point system to decide who made the second interview. Well, and that's how that works. So yeah, that's about the only way you can do it, is through a point system program.
Okay. Who do you determine that yourself, or does something like Council of Governments have a template that you follow?
You could usually do both. You're under no obligation to use those. However, it would be naive to do so, because they have a lot more experience at doing this than most of us do. So getting them involved in using their years of experience to give you a starting point never doesn't hurt anything. Now, one of the things we might do is get the template from them and then adjust the values we see in different elements of an engineer, because we may have a different idea of what we think makes up a good engineer, for instance.
Now, something like a Bowery Street, where it's going to need extensive work, when you were talking about being able to cut down halfway and lay concrete on top of it, I've seen a process whereby street crews do that, and then they crush up the remaining concrete to use that for a bed. Are you talking about that?
I didn't get into any great detail with the entity in the league meeting as far as. I was more concerned in my conversation with him, since moisture tends to be the bigger danger. Once you have broken that down and you've got this new layer of crack in there, what prevents you from having issues within the next decade? That was one of my bigger concerns with him in our discussion.
Okay.
I didn't talk to him about the exact details of it.
Back on through. What's that? It'll crack right back on through.
And see, that was kind of my theory and he talked about a sealant that they use in the process. And of course, you only go so far, because at some point you're going to go through an engineering process. I know that as well as he did. You only go into the details so far until you basically wet your beak in the process, learn that there is some options out there, and kind of move forward at that point. I only got a couple of months with it.